What's up, everybody? Happy Monday. It's the Recap Lunch Hour with Guff, me, Ryan McGuffey here back in the Recap studios after a weekend that saw the Chicago Cubs sweep the Chicago White Sox. After I was adamant that the White Sox were going to win a game. As a matter of fact, so adamant that I bet Chef Paul a pizza that the White Sox would win a game, and he only had a sweep. His only scenario to win was if the Cubs got a sweep, and he got it. So I owe him a pizza. I've already heard from the family that Chef Paul's excited about catching his bet. Chef Paul, there's nobody I'd rather lose to than my guy, Chef Paul. What's up, Eric? Dominating series by the Cubs this weekend. PCA on a torrent start to this season. He had an unbelievable series this weekend. I think it was 8 for 14. One-man wrecking crew. PCA. What's up, Becky? Looking forward to OTAs this week for the Bears. And real work starts now with the OTAs. Mandatory minicamp and then training camp in late July. Go Bears. Looks like Lopez is going to get DFA'd. Yeah, he's hitting under 050. Matt Shaw coming back up to the Chicago Cubs. The Cubs at Miami this weekend. This weekend. They're at Miami starting in a 3-game series today. Yeah, he is called back up. That was reported yesterday. And I think it's good. For everybody saying, the Cubs, Matt Shaw is here to stay now. Even if he struggles again, I think you plug and play the kid minimum 5 days a week. And that's what you're going to do. He went down to Iowa, put the work in, was on a ridiculous pace down there. I think his confidence will be great. He already has the support of the team because he's been up there already. I think Matt Shaw is going to figure things out. I think sometimes you just need to take a step back to take 2 steps forward. Give Shaw some time to figure it out. PCA figured it out. Yeah, Becky, you're right. 5-1 on the homestand. Becky always concerned. Becky not as concerned today. You were so concerned about 2 out of 3 for the Marlins. It all works out, guys. 5-1. You're beating up on the teams you should beat up on, and now you're going on the road to take on the Miami Marlins, who are awful again. You just took 2 out of 3. I love the Cubs. I love the Cubs this week. They continue to get fat and happy in the dead part of their schedule, and that's where we are. Clyde, not ignoring your comments. I'm throwing that out there 2.5 minutes into the show. Any news about the uniform ideas for the Bears this season? No, I haven't seen anything new. To me, I'm a traditionalist in most cases with the Bears uniforms. I'm sure they'll go to the orange unis at some point, but I think you're going to see the traditional blues, the traditional whites, and maybe, I don't know. I mean, I know they do the color rush jerseys at times, but with the Bears having five primetime games, I would expect that they'll maybe color rush it at least one of them. What up, Swayze? Becky, do you think the guys should pick up Chris Taylor from the Dodgers after he got DFA'd? So the Dodgers are the best team in baseball, Becky. Chris Taylor's hitting 200. He had not been doing much of anything for the past year plus. Yes, a great playoff performer for the Dodgers for the last 8+ seasons. But why do you want to pick him up? You already have Justin Turner for that role. I'm confused. If I were anything, like, you could make an argument that the White Sox should pick him up. I just don't see a fit for Chris Taylor on this Cubs team right now with what they're doing. I don't. What's up, Jess? Great weekend with the Cubs. Good to see the sweep, and let's see if the Cubs can continue the magic with the Marlins. By the way, how did I forget to say, oh, well, that's the wrong punch. This fine program is brought to you by our fine partners at Hooters. OriginalHooters.com. Find one of the 11 Chicagoland locations nearest you. Proud to have Hooters on board each and every day here on the Recap Lunch Hour. What's up, Kyle? Congrats to our guy, Chef Paul, on winning the bet. The Cubs suite was awesome. See Sox fans in July for the series at the rate. Go Cubs, go. So, yeah, I mean, look, the White Sox starting pitching is good enough. Their offense isn't. Miguel Vargas had a fantastic series for the White Sox. That was good to see. And like I said yesterday on Twitter, like, you look at where the offensive production is coming from in this series: Chase Mydroth, Miguel Vargas, Edgar Carroll, who, by the way, for those who didn't join the show on Friday, I got absolutely smoked in the leg on Friday at Wrigley Field by an Edgar Carroll foul ball and BP. First time in 25 years that's ever happened. I was talking to Ethan Katz at the time. No time to react. Hit me smoke right in the leg. I'm okay. It's pretty I mean, there's some soreness to it. Never went down, iced it back, no IL stint, gamer. Let's go. I could do without some of the pain, though. The last 12 to 24 hours have hurt a little bit more. Godfather, I'm fine, my man. I'm fine. How are you? Answer me a couple of questions. Who's the closer? Right now, it's TBA. Who's playing third? That'd be Matt Shaw. So I did answer one of those questions for you, Godfather, as the Cubs try to get Ryan Presley back right again in 6th, 7th, and 8th inning mop-up type duties. How's the calf, champ? Hope you're healing well. So, Pablo, the ball hit me in the side, like near the back of the calf. All of the pain is in the front of the leg. So that's how hard the ball hit me. The ball hit me, I mean, that thing was a line shot, probably 110 off the bat, and you're talking about a BP fastball. He pulled it so far damn foul, though. There's no reason that I should have been hit, but it is what it is. I'm fine. I'm here. We're back. No IL stint. Sorry I've been MIA, says Jess. Busy week last week, but good to be back listening, Jess. Hey, you don't have to apologize. I know you're a loyal listener. It's good to have you back here on the show. Bird Dog, I made a ton of money this weekend on the Cubs, and that was fun. I'm okay if you come in here and talk about the cash you made, especially since we are a betting show. We have the bet of the day, which, by the way, a little humble brag, a couple of, a little looking ahead. We cashed again on Friday. That's 3 straight winning weeks. So I hope Chef Paul not only won the pizza from me, that he cashed his 3rd straight winning week on the program here on the Recap Lunch Hour. Love the call of Matt Shaw. PCA did the same thing last year, and look at him now. PCA looking like an MVP. I wanted to bring up the MVP thing because I brought it up, I think, a couple of weeks ago on this show that he was 80-1 to win the MVP. 80-1. And I still think in theory, I think he's a long shot, but I'm not sure anymore. Let me tell you what he is right now. Right now, Shohei Ohtani's still plus 110. And I'll be honest with you, he just put together a stretch that no one's ever done in the history of the game, which you're going to hear more and more from Shohei Ohtani. Tatis, Corbin Carroll, Kyle Tucker still at 10-1. Guess who's right by? I looked at this yesterday. Pete Crow Armstrong was 25-1. Pete Crow Armstrong is now 12-1 to win NL MVP. 12-1. Literally 10 days ago, he was 80-1. You throw a 20 spot on that, it's 1,600. You throw a 20 spot on now, it's 240. Wow. Tells you what the betting market is thinking about Pete Crow Armstrong, who's now ahead of Pete Alonso, Freddie Freeman, Juan Soto, Francisco Lindor, Jackson Merrill, Bryce Harper, blah, 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 up the track. Surprised by the Cards, but even more surprised with how meh the Brewers have been. I just don't think the Brewers have a lot of talent. They have the organizational talent. Let's see what happens. We're at Memorial Day this weekend, as we know. Usually you kind of know who you are at Memorial Day. It's like you're kind of through your first 60 games of the year, and you figure it out, and you kind of know who you are. Now, that's not the end-all be-all. It's an earlier Memorial Day this year, but the Cards are more of a surprise than the Brewers to me. Let's hope Detroit can put the Cardinals back down in the standings. Yeah, Detroit, by the way, is one of the best teams in baseball. They were the best team in baseball heading into the weekend, and they would still like to talk about that being that, yeah, they're 31-16. They have a 5-game lead in the AL Central that has 4 teams above 500. That's what tells you how good the Detroit Tigers are. A plus 87 run differential, good for 2nd in all of baseball, only behind the New York Yankees. The real Phil Simms giving us our hockey update. Panthers over Canes, Oilers over Stars, rematch of the 2024 Stanley Cup. Only difference is that the Jesus brings the cup to Edmonton this year. Well, that again, you guys have heard me say that I'm looking forward to Canada getting an opportunity to win the cup. But you're probably right in this particular case. I like your 2 picks. How about Toronto? I thought Toronto had a shot getting to the Stanley Cup. Toronto, I would have been okay with Toronto and Edmonton in the Stanley Cup Finals. But the Toronto Maple Leafs were the Denver Nuggets of Game 7s. Whew. So much for that futures bet. It is no longer cashable. I want to purchase the orange and white and blue Chicago Bears number 9 jersey this year. All right, Clyde, I think you could probably go ahead and do that online right now. Pablo's welcome Jess back. What, from Crosstown Classic to Crosstown Ass Kick? Oh, yeah. Well, this is where, so for the first time since 2009, the Cubs have the series lead all time. So 16 years, the White Sox were the all-time leader in wins in the series. But when you've lost, 9 in a row now? Is it 9 in a row or 8 in a row that the Cubs have won? 8 in a row. It's a franchise best. 8 in a row over the White Sox. I know how much losing to the Cubs hurts the White Sox. Like, as fans, it hurts, but I know the organization cares a lot about losing to the Cubs. Well, my thing, do something about it. Becky, wish they would DFA Birdie. Possible. Chris Taylor would be a good addition to your Chicago White Sox, as Clyde, which I just mentioned a few minutes ago. I don't think it'd be a bad idea, but I will say this about Chris Taylor. Unless every other playoff team isn't interested, and he's trying to hang on to his career because he's getting paid to go away, by the way. He's got another $15 million next year by the Dodgers. He's getting that check. So unless he's just trying to hang on, my guess is that he would want to go to a playoff team, but don't quote me on that. Don't quote me on that. The Oklahoma City Thunder. Becky, I know you're happy. Our guy Breck Bear at some point, I'm sure, shows up here in the chat because you got to call a spade a spade. I expected a better effort from the Denver Nuggets yesterday. And after they took, I think they had a 1-point lead. And at some point, the Thunder went on like a 27-2 run, and that game was over. Phil, should the Cubs go after Ryan McMahon, would fix the third base problem, All-Star and Gold Glove. Ryan McMahon's been terrible this year for the Rockies, but that's not saying much. He doesn't have any protection in that lineup. And most importantly, I'm going to answer this with a flat-out hard pass. Here's why. He is owed another $7 million this year and $32 million after that. So you're basically offering to pay $40 million. They're probably going to have to eat some of that. But you have Matt Shaw here. I just don't understand why you'd add Ryan McMahon. Phil's offense sucks, though. Talking to Phil, Cubs handled their business as they should. C.J. Woodcroft could be heading to Boston, cross another name off the Blackhawks short list for head coach. Looks like Jeff Blashill is more and more likely for Chicago. Going to see my guy Pat Boyle here in a little bit. I'm going to actually ask him who he thinks could be the guy, and I'll keep that in mind, Kyle, as we continue. It's baffling that the Hawks don't have a coach yet. Cubs swept the stank out of Wrigley. I didn't think it stank that much, to be honest with you. There's Breck. And look at Breck coming up here, all class in his first comment. Congrats, Becky. Glad the Nuggets could provide clothing for the Oklahoma City fans for a few days. That came up in my house yesterday. I think my daughter and my mother-in-law both pointed out the fact that the fans were all wearing the same shirt. And I said, do you notice that the fans are all sitting down too? I'm just saying, Becky. I said you can call a spade, but I'm just saying. Oklahoma, hope you guys are okay out there as always. Godfather with the usual Ricketts people's elbow. Be you, man. Alan, Luis Robert looks checked out. He would probably excel on another team. PCA is playing what Sox fans thought Robert would. PCA gives a damn. His effort's 100. I love how into it he gets with the fans when he slides in the third on a triple and then he waves to the dugout. I just love PCA. He really is. I mean, the Javi Baez trade could go down as one of the great trades for the Cubs ever. It's still early, but he plays with that Javi Baez like edge, right? That made him so lovable when he was a Cub. And PCA's kind of taken that baton and run with it. Now, to your point, I agree. He looks checked out. At this point, I'm okay with the Luis Robert experiment being over. Trade him for whatever you can get for him at the deadline, and let's just move on. Let's call it what it is. You're not going to get some kind of haul for him. He's not hitting. It just is what it is. And don't tell me he has some protection. Okay. And there are good players on bad teams that are performing. He's not one of them. Who do you love in the NBA Finals? Knicks, Thunder, or Knicks win the title? Here's what I'll say. I'm rooting for the Knicks. Think about what I just said. I want to put that out there. I'm rooting for the Knicks. I've always hated the Pacers. I've always hated the Knicks. So you immediately would think, well, I'm going to go to the West. Well, not really. I mean, I kind of like Ant and the T-Wolves, but I love Tom Thibodeau, man. I love Coach Tibbs and what he was doing here in Chicago. And then they cold-shouldered him and punted him into the sun. And now he's done something in New York. Look at how those fans reacted. Timothy Chalamet is getting mobbed like he was playing Bob Dylan again. I mean, Really good stuff. And I love Tibbs. I've met Tibbs, talked to him. He's as good of a human. I love him. So I'm all in for the Knicks to get the job done. I think it would be really fun for Tibbs. Speaking of what, it's really fun. The Big Daddy mugs. It is cold as you know what in Chicago this week. Sweet heading into a holiday weekend where summer officially begins, that this is what we're dealing with, but it is what it is. So get a Big Daddy mug at Hooters. Get the Paloma, which is the drink of the month, $8. The Big Daddy mugs with Summer Shandy, with Blue Moon, with Dos Equis. Had some tender tacos over the weekend. The shrimp tacos, also equally as good. The cinnamon pretzel bites. They take care of every McGuffey meal. OriginalHooters.com. Find one of the 11 Chicagoland locations nearest you. If you want to pick things up to go, order.hooters.com. They'll get you set up with whatever you want. Let's get back to the show. And my goodness, is the chat full as always. Oh, I'm feeling fine, man. If you're an if you're an MLB player, you'd probably be out for a month. Yeah, I was even probably a little surprised, but with the reaction. But Godfather, you can't keep me down, man. You can't keep me down. Thank God it hit me below the waist, because had it been anything above, it could have been, for real, it could have been serious. To test rumors, unless Nutting thinks he will make the most money right now on Skeens, he won't trade him. Nutting is only focused on growing players and selling them at the highest bid. There's zero scenario that the Pittsburgh Pirates should ever trade Paul Skeens between now and the next 3+ years. Lost my Nuggets and Leafs futures in 1 week, and I had a Nuggets future with you, Lip. Hawks should stay away from Mitch Marner. Guy disappears when it matters most. Interesting take. Would it surprise you if Swanson, Kelly, Tucker, and PCA would be in Atlanta in July? I think PCA is a virtual lock at this point. Kyle Tucker, probably a lock. I'd have to look at the shortstop play, but Dansby Swanson, all of a sudden, guys, Dansby Swanson, for all the crap that everybody was giving him early in the year, that dude, he's got over 10 home runs now. Okay. And if I do just here by a shortstop, let me look at by a shortstop, and then I'll do it by National League. Dansby Swanson leads all National League shortstops with 10 home runs. He is 5th in RBI. In terms of OPS, Dansby Swanson is 5th with a 787. With hits, he is 5th. He's top 5, but you have Ellie De La Cruz. You have Perdomo from Arizona, who's having a great season. I think he's pretty much a lock to go. Francisco Lindor, probably a lock. And then Trey Turner, hitting 294. He has not had the power, but he's still Trey Turner. It's a very crowded market. CJ Abrams, who went to the casino late night, remember when he was here, is having a monster year for the Washington Nationals. So it's all I could see Dansby not going. Carson Kelly has been fantastic. If he keeps it up for another month, I think for sure you can have that conversation. My two guys to watch have made me feel good, like James Brown. Living in America. PCA is a legitimate MVP candidate, and Dansby has been on fire. And when you go, just to be fair about what Dansby's been doing in May, because I want to be clear, in May, he has been one of the best players in all of baseball. Let's just do shortstops. In May, Freddie Freeman, my gosh, how is he even listed as a shortstop? That's not even fair. Dansby's hitting 364 with an 11-11 OPS. He has been absolutely fantastic in the month of May. Kyle, looking forward to seeing Indiana play New York in the conference finals. Taking us back to the 90s when this matchup was a regular occurrence in the playoffs, both teams still looking for a title since 1973. I covered this matchup in the 90s when I was in college with Breck Bear. I covered this matchup when it was the Reggie Miller Pacers and the Patrick Ewing Knicks at Market Square. And I was just a kid who had no idea where I was supposed to go, wandering around with my credential, trying to figure it out. It was awesome. Just let him PCA play. Enough of the MVP talk. Hope he doesn't start listening to the media. I think he knows he's in a really good headspace. And he's got a guy like Justin Turner who's mentoring him. What do you think MJ's role will be on NBC? He'll only be on 4 times, but it's must-see TV. Is that what it is? I've been wondering. I want to read more about this. Only on 4 times is a very light contributor. And I'm guessing he would be part of the opening night coverage, the All-Star game coverage, and probably playoff coverage. That part, I don't know. I can see him voicing over some stuff. I thought he might have a bigger role, but when you hear contributor, that's a guy they're probably paying a boatload of money to do 4 appearances. I did lose the bet, Sean. I came on with this fine show, and I said right out of the gate, Chef Paul, you got me. I will be paying for pizza, Eli. I will be buying Chef Paul's pizza, as I mentioned already here on the show. Clyde, never forget the Portage Hooters. Already a tornado watch, classic Oklahoma Mayday. You guys be careful out in Oklahoma. Jay, the White Sox should be ashamed of themselves. No way they should have let this team look this bad. Until they're willing to spend money on free agents, they will lose. Look at the Orioles. Agreed. The Orioles didn't address their pitching. The Orioles are in a much different spot than the White Sox. They've won 100 games the last 2 years. The White Sox, I'll be honest with you, spending just to spend is stupid. There was zero reason for the White Sox to spend this offseason. Now, next year, as they start to continue to add, for sure, this is a problem. This year's team is a problem that stems back 3-4 years. Would you be surprised if the Hawks go after Mitch Marner? Can't see him staying in Toronto. We just heard, I think it was Lip say, be aware, he disappears when you need him most. So I'm going to rely on you guys. I don't want guys who disappear when the bright lights are on. This Tigers team kind of reminds me of that 06 team with Verlander and Mags on it. There's something fun about that team. That 06 team was so good that it kept the White Sox out of the playoffs. The White Sox won 90 games in 06. They would have been a wild card in today's format, but the Twins, I think, won 95 games, and the White Sox were in third place with 90 wins. Guff, nobody's going to watch Robert. If you got to get on to steal bases. This guy is a slug, and I'll take a dozen eggs for him. Wayne, the price of eggs these days, I'm not sure you'd get a dozen. Seeing Caruso play the way he did yesterday makes me miss him in Chicago. No doubt about it. Double or nothing on next Wednesday's game. Oh. So my son's team that I coach in CPS flag football won their conference. Chef Paul's grandson's team won their conference. And guess what? Chef Paul versus Coach Guff next Wednesday at Lane Stadium in the network playoffs. Pretty cool. Not to get personal, but a lot of the 3 teams remaining are all kids that played on the state championship Oriole Park Falcons team. So it's fun. Double or nothing sounds good to me, Chef. Double or nothing sounds good to me. It's like a little bit like Pete Rose. I'm kind of betting on my team only to win. But you know what? There's no rules here. So I won't be banned for life. And I guess if I am, my son's graduating, so it doesn't really matter. Eli, George Wolkow, Kosa Montgomery are getting hot and Vargas in full effect. Sean, you just saw me say there, the pizza will be pushed to next Wednesday as we do a double or nothing bet. Ask Pat Boyle, will the Hawks be a major player in free agency? I sure will. The chat is full, guys. I'm not sure I'll get to everything. Last time I looked, Cubs are still under the luxury tax by $30 million, and Ricketts is sleeping well at night. That could change as we get closer to the deadline. Would love to watch a game with you and Cap and a few adult beverages. June 25th at Hooters O'Hare. Ganja Man, you might have that opportunity, my friend, as we'll do a Cubs watch party. Playing the Cardinals that night. And the NBA draft also that night. I just dropped on Sox weren't close to winning 1 against the Cubs. Wishful thinking. I have Indiana OKC in the finals. OKC winning the title. Becky, I might get to go to a Cubs game next year if the economy is good. I hope it is, man. Becky, that'd be awesome if you guys got to go. A lot of people asking if I'm buying the pizza. Yes, that will happen only if we get knocked out by Chef Paul's grandson's school. Colton Wong is retiring. So I felt like he retired 10 years ago. Happy Monday, David. If you could only sign 1 10-year deal for either Tucker or PCA, I mean, you got to go with the younger player, right? I mean, PCA is, how old's PCA? 23? I mean, you just by that alone, if you're picking one, you have to go with the guy. He's 23 years old, and he just turned 23. It's an easy answer. Josh, I've seen a bit of the whole Paul Skeens could be traded. I could see it if there's a team out there that needs a starting caliber pitcher. Guys, that'd be asinine. You might as well sell the team at the same time. This is perfect weather. Don't need the air conditioning. Don't need the heat on. I win. The utilities lose. Pablo, let's face it. If that ball would have hit you above the waist, you still would do a show from your hospital bed. Thanks for the hard work and show, Guff. I appreciate you, Pablo. I certainly would give it out my all. When Hap comes back, do you leave PCA in the leadoff spot? Probably not, but we'll see. Where's Chef Paul's Pizza Place? All this talk has me wanting to try it out. Easy Street, guys. Easy Street Pizza in the city, far northwest side of the city, and in the Park Ridge has a location as well. So Easy Street Pizza, really good spot. It's on Irving Park as well. Really good place on Central. I think I hit the locations the best I could. Kyle, like the Reese-Clark rivalry in the WNBA, rivalries are much-watched TV. Tell you what, I don't hate it. Angel Reese clearly has something with Caitlin Clark. Caitlin Clark, after the game, said that's just a good basketball play. I think it's good for women's basketball. What's going on with Merriweather? Guy isn't the same. Birdie has to go. Total liability. They're trying to get Merriweather right. He gave up a run in the ninth inning last night. He might be running out of time as they try to figure things out. Landon was at the Saturday game. 1, my nephew got a foul ball. 2, Reacher was in the crowd filming 1 row over. Feels like a win to me. Pretty cool, Landon, except the Sox did not win. Good afternoon. Any more shows from Wrigley anytime soon? It'll probably just be case-by-case basis. Josh, we can sign both Tucker and PCA. We got the money. It's up to Ricketts and Hoyer to give them the money. Chicago side need to pick it up. Clyde, they've played 1 game, and they're playing the Indiana Fever. So guess what? It's time for the bet of the day. You already saw me reach for him, Pablo. I know you already saw me reach for him because we, on Friday, cashed yet again. The Knicks won, and Jalen Brunson went under 29.5. He scored 23. The Knicks still clinched it. And we cashed another bet, and we hit another winning week. That's 3 in a row. We are 10-5 the last 3 weeks. Guys, I'm going back to the well here. The Cubs offensively figured it out against the White Sox. There's 2 things they do really well. They walk, which is they're second in the majors in walks. They're second in the majors in stolen bases. On Saturday, Sean Burke couldn't find his location. Mike Vassell, equally the same. They walked 11 Cubs hitters. They stole 5 bases. And the Cubs blew them out every game. I'm going to ride the hot Cubs playing a terrible team. I'm going to ride the Cubs at Miami with Ben Brown on the hill. I'm riding them. The Miami Marlins are 18-27. They've actually played okay of late. 4-6 their last 10. And they're about a 500 team at home. I'm taking a chance here. I like the price. The Cubs are 13-9 away from the friendly confines. They're 70-run differential. Give me the chance at a better team at a price that's almost even money. I'm laying the run line, and I'm going to feel okay about it. Win or lose. I like where we're sitting right now in May. I like where we're at from a confidence perspective. The NBA is back tomorrow when Oklahoma City and Minnesota fired up in game 1. And then Wednesday, we got game 1 of the Eastern Conference Final. So plenty of basketball to bet on. But today, I'm going with the Cubs. I'm going to ride the Cubs. All right? I'm going to eat my crow by making my bet of the day, the Chicago Cubs run line at -1.5. So not only do I owe my guy, Chef Paul Pizza, I also am going to take the Cubs in the bets. That's where I'm at. They didn't figure it out against the White Sox. We walked 11 and dropped like 12 fly balls. Brujan still hasn't touched home plate yet. I got the White Sox money line at +165. I think they play better. The Mariners pitching is pretty banged up. The White Sox in a cold game at home. Interesting to see how they perform. After, is there a letdown with the crowd on a cold Monday we'll see. We'll see, because I almost went with the White Sox. Davis Martin is pitching. He'll be following his career high 6 2/3 outing his last time out in Cincinnati. I talked to Davis on Friday. I'm a big fan of Davis Martin. He'll be on the podcast soon. And I just think he's a dude that easy guy to root for. So eating crow, eat Crow Armstrong. That's really well done, Landon. Eat Crow Armstrong. That's pretty good stuff. He made me eat crow with 8 hits over the weekend and a ton of RBIs. Brown has been better on the road than at home. Cubs win by 3 or more. Since they're in Miami, make the move for Alcantara. Those moves can happen. Yeah, maybe he'll just switch clubhouses. We've seen that done before, but I'll say this. It's still May 19th. I don't expect that big trade to come just yet. Brown is pitching today. It's warm down south, so he should have a good game. My guess is that the roof is closed in Miami. If it's super hot, they keep it closed an awful lot, so we'll see. There's the recap bet of the day. You guys see we finished 3-2 last week, 3-2 the prior week, and 4-1 the week before that. On a little bit of a bender. I like it. Cubs run line, 1.5. I'll put the clip out and a little bit on social. Cubs -1.5. What a great way to come back from eating the Eat Crow Armstrong. White Sox swept by the Cubs. Both teams back in action. Sox here in Chicago against Seattle. Cubs in Miami to take on the Marlins. We got basketball coming 24 hours from now. This has been the Recap Lunch Hour with Guff, me, Ryan McGuffey, brought to you by our fine partners at Hooters. Take care of yourselves. Take care of each other. Remember, originalhooters.com to find one of the 12 Chicagoland area locations nearest you. Order.hooters.com for your takeout orders. Have a great day. We will see you guys